Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to another episode of my podcast series called Open Book, starring Lizzie B and her diary, where I read directly from my diary and share commentary, context, and comic relief. As a reminder for those of you who are listening to the audio version, the video version is also available on YouTube if you want to see my lovely face. I also have some new things on my set, which I'm excited to share with you about. Also, for those of you watching on my YouTube channel, be sure to check out the audio version if you'd like on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below if any of this resonates with you. I have a couple of new things on my set, which actually I started recording this and then I started to hear like this fuzzy noise and it was driving me nuts. But only realized the synchronicity of my little chickadee until after I started recording. So I decided to add my chickadee here for today. And this morning, actually, right outside of our window, we have a catio. We have two catios. One is in service. The other one is not in service right now for the kitties. And what that catio has been used for is the roof is kind of caving in a bit, so it is a perfect area for birds to take baths. And I got the cutest video of birds taking baths, but this morning I saw a little chickadee drinking out of the water on top of the roof, and it was really, really cute. So we have the chickadee here. I also am excited to share with you, this is my very first Oracle card deck, and I honestly didn't even know what Oracle cards were. This is actually, Amanda had this deck, and you'll hear Amanda's name. She's the one who helped me show me the mushrooms and totally helped change the projection of my life. And this deck is the first deck that I've ever, I didn't even know what Oracle was. And Amanda had me sort through her deck, and I found the perfect card. Literally every single time I pick a card out of this deck, it is exactly what I need to hear, and I don't know what I would do without my Oracle, my Sacred Rebels Oracle cards. They're fucking amazing. So we have those things. Also, if you noticed my plant here, it's my, I think it's called a ZZ Raven. It's like a ZZ plant, but it's the Raven one, and it's like black. It kind of is harder to see. Let me show you closer. So the shoots, they start off as like really bright green, and then they go kind of this dark black color. And this plant represents my business, because my business is a growing, living extension of me, and I also love plants. Love them so hard. And it's just nice to have like a visual representation of my business, and like it is a living, growing thing, and I need to nurture it and take care of it. And yeah, that's what you'll see in like every one of these podcast episodes is my ZZ Raven. But without further ado, this is the journal I'll be reading from. I'm going to read it from my computer, but this is what my journal looks like. And we'll get started. All right. Oh, also, if you're listening to the audio version, I don't know if I said what my YouTube channel's name was. My channel is Lizzie Be Loved. LIZZIEBEELOVED, and you can watch my face if you want, or listen to the audio version, whatever you want. All right, taking a deep breath. Thursday, April 29th, 2021. So it's gonna get a little chaotic real quick, but bear with me. I'll give you all the context you need. I'm going to begin today's entry with some intuitive writing. This is on Thursday, April 29th, 2021. Oh, I said that, didn't I? Okay, alright. I began my workday by starting outside Well, this morning I discovered Opal on Instagram Live. She's amazing. Listening to her podcasts were super informational throughout the day. So I would plug this podcast, but the podcast is not available, so I can't. I reached out to Haley, who is moving to Arizona on Saturday, and ironically, Amanda, who is moving on Monday. This time right now is changing drastically for so many friends and family, including myself. I've been texting Jess, who found out Justin got hired at a new company. When I say things are changing, especially now, I mean major changes are happening now. Of course, things change constantly for everyone. What really resonated with me on Opal's podcast was victim mentality. Feeling like the victim or empowered to learn and grow from your situation. But also being able to feel every emotion and being open to that. I at first was thinking these two can go hand in hand, but I'm sure to a certain extent. If I'm angry or frustrated at something, I can still be angry and frustrated, but I need to stop and think, why am I feeling this way? What can I do to be the bigger person? So, I'm going to interject here. When I say, there are a lot of words in this little area right here that I don't love. I don't love the word need. I don't love the word should. Those are kind of like shaming words to me. At least like should has the word shame in it. It's like, I should be doing this. I should be further along. And it's like, no, I'm exactly where I need to be. Everything is actually perfect. I don't need to do anything. I can choose to do whatever. So if I am saying I need or I should or you should or you need, like, you know, I didn't really understand the power of words and the power of those words. I didn't love. So also this victim mentality, I've been thinking about this recently. And a victim mentality, it's like the universe will give us 2 doors, usually every time. Well, there's probably more than 2 doors, but I like to think of it. And every challenge and obstacle that comes my way, I like to think and visualize about 2 doors. I have a choice. My first choice is to, I can be the victim. I can fall back into my old ways. I can, let that thing knock me down and say, oh my gosh, woe is me, Or I can feel empowered by that situation. I can feel empowered by the obstacle and overcome it and grow, because every challenge is an opportunity to grow. And that's just what I feel is there's like at every like impasse or every challenge that life brings us, there are a couple of options that we can go about. And it's like, it's either giving our power away, at least for me, it's giving my power away in being like, oh, this isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? Why me? Woe is me. Or I can say, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to consider this a test from the universe, a challenge, so that I am able to grow and expand and hit higher levels of consciousness. It's either I'm going to give my power away, essentially, or I'm going to take it back. And my whole journey has been about just taking that power back and not falling into that victim mentality like I used to. But I also, like, whatever emotions come up, they're meant to be coming up. I think feelings are meant to be felt. And, I'm not here to give anybody advice, but this is just my personal experience. Okay, I'm going to continue. She also was talking about shadowing, I think, where you imagine carrying around a trash bag and you need to realize why you're triggered by things, which is really what my goal was, to not yell. So that's an amazing part, is our triggers are our teachers, and I did not know this all the time. Instead, I would kind of react without thinking, that impulsive reaction. And what my dad and my mom would do was they weren't aware or knew how to process their emotions, so that kind of manifested itself as just yelling and being frustrated and impatient with what's happening around us. And that's what I learned. So I would yell a lot. I would get it surprises me sometimes cuz I kind of forget about that. And honestly, I'm not perfect either, you know. I can find myself yelling and getting frustrated. I'm just more aware of when it happens and what it feels like, whereas before it was kind of a normal reaction for me. And something that I didn't really think about until I met Cameron, who Cameron just doesn't yell. He may have yelled at me one time. But I've yelled at him a lot of times, so it definitely, but knowing Cameron has definitely put into perspective that I don't want to be the type to yell. I didn't like getting yelled at as a kid, and I definitely don't want to continue that pattern. So that was a huge motivator for me to try to figure out why I get triggered by things. This was over a year ago, and why I would get triggered by things, and made me want to really work on myself so that I wouldn't yell. And I didn't like that part of myself at all. The angry part, I really didn't like it. And honestly, it was so early on my spiritual journey that I hated that part of me. It's taken me a while to love that part of me, but definitely did not like that part of me for a really long time. Okay, so here comes the need word. I think this is the new practice I/everyone needs. I don't agree with that. If you feel called to figure out why you get triggered, I recommend asking and being curious, but I don't think anybody, I'm not here to give anybody advice. Okay. Instead of reacting, you reflect and need to heal from those triggers, or they will keep coming up. For example, why do I get triggered when my mother doesn't listen to me? Because I feel unseen and unheard, but why do I need validation from my mom? I don't need external validation because I am all I need. Everything is within me. I need to have more patience and understanding for my mother. Her lack of attention has nothing to do with me, rather her defense mechanism of dissociation from past trauma still creeps in when she is uncomfortable. So I need to hold space and understand in case she isn't listening to me. I need to let go of wanting to maintain control and straight up trust the process. So I'm wondering if you can kind of feel the weight of those need words and the should words. They're just not like the most graceful words. There's not a lot of leeway. Okay, I'm gonna continue. Patience and everything else is what I'm still working on. Oh my gosh, patience. That has been like such a huge lesson for me. Not being frustrated to repeat myself and getting triggered by those not listening because I myself don't pay attention 100% of the time. Oh my gosh, this is so darn true. My mom, a little background, my mom would get so frustrated at me and would be so pissed to repeat herself and say things over and over again, and it would just trigger her to repeat herself, and then that pattern kind of stuck with me, and I would get really annoyed when I would have to repeat myself to my mother. It's like, you understand that it was frustrating for me not listening to you. So like it makes sense that it's frustrating for me to when you're not listening, But yeah, I can still see the hypocrisy And I could still see that, like, I'm not 100% perfect all the time, and have that patience within myself. And also reframing the need to repeat myself. Like, I would rather repeat myself until I'm maybe not blue in the face, but I would rather repeat myself a few times if it meant being heard versus someone else just ignoring me and letting it go by. I would rather repeat myself. So that's kind of what I came to the conclusion of. And another example, I'm going to continue reading. When Mike and I talk, we run through topics so quickly and it's hard to keep track. And sometimes I'm not present in the moment. But Mike never gets frustrated from that and is always understanding. I need to have the patience and understanding to express myself and be heard. And if people aren't capable of learning, they may not be ready just yet to hear what I have to say. So wise. Lizzie is so fucking wise. It's so true. It's so true. If people are not listening, chances are they're not ready to hear what you have to say. Like, that's a huge lesson that I've learned. And not to be frustrated with them, it's just we're all on different journeys, and I'm sure I'm going to be talking about that right now. Everyone is on their own journey. It's impossible to compare one another. All I ask is that everyone stop and smell the flowers. Today is a good day, many of them are, so I may not hold true to this every day, but life is beautiful, and am/always will be the luckiest person on earth. I feel that way. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the luckiest person on earth. I'm not special. I'm just a human. Just a human humaning. But I feel so lucky. I do feel like the luckiest person on earth, and I wouldn't want to be anybody else. And everyone is on their own journey, and it is impossible to compare. So it's like, if people aren't ready to hear what I have to say, like, that's okay. I used to pay a lot of attention to my Instagram and the numbers and the followers, and would get really disheartened when the number would go down. But, have come to realize that it's just a number. It doesn't matter. And not everybody is going to be ready to hear what I have to say. It's like, I'm not meant for everybody, but the people that I am meant for are going to find me because, because I know I'm not meant for everybody, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be myself. Alright, I'm going to continue. Last paragraph. We just finished eating supper and realized I project my thoughts and ideas onto Cameron. Holy shit. This is the beginning of my journal entries. This is literally the third entry, and I'm like rereading and retyping and re-going through everything that I went through before. And me and Cameron, like, shortly after this, maybe a month or two after this, Cameron and I were not doing so good. And it was because of this. Because I was going through all of these crazy changes and was like, you need to go through these changes with me. And yeah, that patience word. I really was able to learn more and more about that with Cameron. And, really understand that everybody is on their own journey. It's just harder to do that when that person is your partner and is the closest person to you. It's like, I want you to be up here with me, but everybody's on their own journey at their own time. But it's really, really awesome that I was able to at least be aware that I project my ideas and thoughts onto Cameron. And I probably still do that sometimes. But this is a good reminder. Continuing. My recent rebirth has made me realize that I'm destined to be a teacher and mentor. Ever since I was a kid, I felt this way, but was not as motivated because of the money. Oh my gosh, that's crazy that I said that, because I filmed my first masterclass. Okay, I'm going to plug this. I filmed my first masterclass. It's free. It's on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, Lizzie Beloved, same thing as my YouTube handle, and you go to my link in my bio, I have a masterclass, and it's called How to Not Give a Fuck But Actually, where I show viewers, I show you 5 tips that I use that help me not give a fuck what other people think. And I was talking about this, how in the video I was talking about how I used to have really big dreams when I was young. And one of them was that I felt like I was destined to be a teacher. And I originally was not, I didn't want to do that because my dad was like, well, you're not going to make any money. And I kind of grew up poor and did not want to struggle like my mom struggled. So I was willing to throw my dreams away because of the money aspect. But it's really fucking cool that I get to like come so full circle in that, and that I get to come back to it and do it kind of on my terms. Okay. My recent rebirth has made me realize that I'm destined to be a teacher or mentor. Ever since I was a kid, I've felt this way, but was not as motivated because of the money. And since Cameron is essentially between jobs, so another fact here, I didn't really write about it in my journal entries, but my partner, around this time, April of last year, Cameron found out that his branch, he works at a bank, and his branch was closing. So he basically didn't have a job, and was also very fearful because he didn't have a job lined up. And I was like, well, now's kind of the time to consider what you really want to be doing. Because that's what I was doing. And a part of my masterclass and not giving a fuck is that everything is projection. And this is a perfect example, because I was figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, what my true soul's calling was. It wasn't accounting. It was to be, some sort of teacher, some sort of like coach. And I was projecting my thoughts and ideas onto Cameron because I was going through this stuff myself, and it really had nothing to do with him. And since Cameron is essentially between jobs, I think it would be a great opportunity for some soul searching to figure out what his next path should be. That should word. But he is fulfilled in his job of helping others, whereas I am not. I need to stop trying to control people and everything around me and trust that everyone is going to do what is right for them. Everyone is on their own journey, and I need to respect that and trust the process. Fucking men. This has been another huge lesson that I've been learning. It's like surrendering and trusting that everybody's going to figure it out. As a human, I have been left to figure out a lot of things on my own, which has been a blessing and a curse, but 100% a blessing. In those times that I was learning those things by myself and didn't really have anybody to help me, I really learned how to be self-sufficient and knew that I had everything I needed within me, and doing things on my own really emphasized that. And, sometimes when I see other people suffering and I see other people in pain, I want to fix it because it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable to witness it, and I just want to fix it, and I want to make it all better. But sometimes, no one fixed my problems, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So sometimes I gotta remember that everyone else is just on their journey, and it's up to them to kind of fix it. And is a huge reason why I want to be a coach that empowers women. I don't want to tell people what to do. I don't want to give advice, because then that's me taking your power away. I want to empower other humans to know that they have all of the answers within them, And they don't need to look outside of themselves for that. But yeah, just surrendering, trusting the process, trusting that everybody's going to handle it and figure it out on their own. It's not my job. It's not my responsibility. Has been a huge part of my lesson, of my journey. As a mentor, I need to guide, but ultimately need to allow my mentees to paint their own narrative and heal on their own. I can't necessarily teach everything I've learned to someone else and expect that they have the same understanding as I do. I can help, ask questions, offer tips as a guide, but everyone is in charge of their own journey and need to learn for themselves. Need to learn this for themselves. I need to learn how to take a step back, stop comparing people, and trust that everyone will make the best decisions for themselves. I need to focus on my own shit and compare myself to who I was yesterday, not to other people. Everyone is different. There's a lot of need and should language, which I don't love and I don't agree with, but it's true. I am a firm believer that if everyone just minded their own business and just focused and worried about themselves, we would be a much more peaceful, happy people. You know what I mean? I think a lot of my worry, and it's unnecessary, honestly. I've realized that anxiety is all extra. It's all just extra. Everything else is going to be fine. But I realized that worrying about other people, worrying about situations, circumstances that are beyond my control, that were none of my business in the first place, it's just a waste of energy. It's just a waste of time and energy. I only know the answers for me. I don't know the answers for anybody else. And, just got to trust that everybody's going to take care of their stuff on their own, because it's not my job. And I think that if we all minded our own business and just focused on ourselves, it would be such a more peaceful, joyful, loving earth. And I advocate for worrying about ourselves first. And trusting that everything else is going to work out fine for everybody else. And that was the end of my entry. That was a fun one. Interesting to read back and see the things and the language that I used and the thoughts that I had. And yeah, it's cool to have this time capsule where time and space doesn't exist. It feels like it was yesterday. And so many things have happened since then. It's fucking crazy. I'm typing currently. I have a Patreon, so if you want to read more of my personal diary entries, make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. I have over 60 now, I'm sure, entries that you can just read. It's $11.11 a month, but it's on patreon.com/LizzieBDiaries. But I've been typing up entries and, typing about how we were preparing to sell our house and how I quit my job. And it's so fucking cool to see how much can happen in a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. It's blows my mind. I'm going to plug a couple of things right now. I currently have that free masterclass for anybody who is interested. I am specifically, I'm Lizzie. I'm a confidence coach. I help newly spiritual women break free from societal pressure so they can live a life that they love and live an authentic and fulfilling life and access their own heaven on earth. And my masterclass, if you go to my Instagram, you can look at my link in my bio. My Instagram is Lizzie Beloved, LizzieBeeeloved. And it's at the link in my bio, my masterclass. I also am opening enrollment to 10 beautiful ladies who, if they want to, change the projection of their life, transform their life, know what it's like to be truly free, to truly not give a fuck what anybody else thinks, and to live the life of their dreams, access levels of consciousness and happiness that they did not know were possible, so that they can fully understand themselves, understand their history, understand the people around them, the universe around them, and just grow and expand. I am creating a course. It's called Free to Be Butterfly School. It's a 6-month program where I take women through the caterpillar, cocoon, and butterfly stages of everything that I went through on my transformation. And I'm really excited to share that. More information also at the link in my bio on my Instagram. For Free to Be Butterfly School, I'm only taking 4 calls a week, and also the first 5 women who sign up get 10% off of their total price of the program. And I'm really, really excited about that. I come out with a new episode of Open Book starring Lizzie B and her diary every single Friday, so keep an eye out for next Friday. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below if any of this resonated with you. And yeah, audio versions are available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and trying to think of anything else. But the masterclass is really awesome. Gives you a taste of what Butterfly School looks like and will help you reclaim your power and allow you to not give a fuck what other people think. It's called How to Not Give a Fuck, but actually. My masterclass, which I think is so fun. But yeah, I think that's all that I have to plug. Patreon if you want more entries. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being yourself. And I hope that you have the most wonderful, magical day. And I will see you next week. Bye, friends. Sending you love always.